Morning. So I've been asked to provide a brief summary of discussion from the EASC meeting last week regarding when this item was brought forward as correspondence there. We did have, so in summary, we need to submit our requests for ministers' meetings by June 30th. At the committee meeting, there was a discussion about some staff recommendations for potential meetings. There was also from committee a proposal that was to be brought forwards today. So in summary, the staff recommendations are to request a meeting with Minister Ralston regarding the Stocking Lake Dam. So we have been in conversation with the town of Ladysmith regarding a joint meeting request. We did, as you recall, make a funding proposal for that dam project, and we were not successful. So we're needing to look for alternative resources for that very important project. We also are proposing, and there was some discussion at EASC about a request to Minister Heyman, the Minister of Environment, regarding the funding shortfall for the Cowichan Lake Weir project. So we have been in discussions with the Cowichan Watershed Board and Cowichan Tribes, and they've confirmed their chief's availability should we want to request a joint meeting for a minister's meeting for that. Minister or potentially the Premier as well would be a suggestion. Other options and proposals were potentially meeting with the Minister of Indigenous Relations to discuss potential expansion to the C2C program to support enhancement of reconciliation initiatives. And there was discussion about meeting with Minister of Finance regarding new fiscal framework for local governments. I believe that was Director Morrison who brought that up at committee. And staff are recommending as well, potentially requesting enhanced flexibility to the MRDT program to support affordable housing projects. Happy to answer any questions or expand on the discussion.
Director Stoughton.
I'm just going to put my support behind all of those requests. I think listening to the discussion at EAS about our experience at FCM, a new fiscal framework is front of mind for every municipality and local government across Canada, and it's so desperately needed that I think we need to renew the full court press at the local government level across the province, with the province, whether they're advocating with us to the federal government or delivering the funding we've been asking for 6 ways from Sunday, as long as I've been at these tables. I think the other issue, the Weir is obviously very present, but I think this conversation that we're having right now around flood management and mitigation is really important, because we've also had significant press on the provincial government around private managed forest land activities. And I know that, at least at a fundamental level, there's some understanding and agreement that all of these downstream impacts that we're experiencing do have a broader source base, including the logging and forestry management practices upstream. So I wouldn't mind kind of throwing that on the pile. I have a feeling this UBCM is going to be less sessions, more meetings if we're successful, but I know I'm willing to put my weight behind those meetings, and I know that with the team that we have at this table, if we have to sort of divide and conquer based on schedules, that we can definitely do that and just work with staff, not on staff, with staff, to just have really strong, focused, fact-based briefing notes that we can go into those meetings with to start building those conversations, because we know it's a 15-minute speed date, but what we want to do is get the next meeting in Victoria, and our advantage here is that we're 45 minutes away, as long as the highways are open, or we can ride our bikes along the train tracks. Thanks.
I have directors, I think I saw Director McClinton put up his hand, Wilson and Douglas. Anyone else? Director McClinton.
Thank you, Chair. If you could just maybe elaborate a little bit, just getting, some questions from residents at Saltaire about the dam, just why the funding wasn't successful, and what those implications are, if that's possible. Yeah.
Through the chair,
Yep.
to Director McClinton. So the program that we applied for was oversubscribed. It's an infrastructure program, and there were just a lot of applications this round, as there usually are. So not getting into the details of the project too much, but we do need to replace it. So we need to find another source of funding. It's an important project. I can see Director Stone with his hand up, so you may want to comment further.
If it pleases the chair.
Director Stone, go ahead.
So yeah, the reality is that if we can't secure an additional source of funding, it'll end up coming out of our growing communities funds. And I don't think that we all know that those funds are well oversubscribed at the local levels, and we don't want to do that. I did as much investigation as I could into the projects that were awarded through the Strategic Priorities Fund, and I do recognize it was more than almost 6 times oversubscribed to the funding base, like so many programs right now. But I would have argued, and I did argue to the committee that decided those grants that this was a much more critical infrastructure project than many that were awarded. That being said, we haven't been told to go away by the provincial government. We've written letters both from the CVRD and the town of Ladysmith, and I think that asking for a meeting with the minister and or the premier is appropriate. Thanks.
Ms. Wilson.
Mr. Chair, just one additional comment is that, just for clarity, we have a 50% interest in this infrastructure and in the water license. So we're partners essentially with the town of Ladysmith and have equal responsibility.
Follow up?
Thank you, Chair. And just how might the Stamanis nations play into this? It's my understanding they'll be with us, and maybe Chair, Mayor Stone can speak to it. I think they are going to be invited to the meeting with the Premier.
Yeah,
Or,
so
sorry, with the Premier's office.
yeah,
Director
it's
Stone?
on an agenda for our Not-so-Much committee locally, but as Stocking and Holland Lakes provide water not only to Area H, Area G, and Staminas First Nation, where our goal is to have the chief join us in those meetings.
I've got Director Wilson next.